the FAA is laying out is not the case. This was a midair collision between this commercial flight and a government or military helicopter.
Yeah.
As I said, I was on that flight, not that specific flight, but that's when I always land, is Reagan at 9 o'clock Eastern, which I was just on for Sexy Liberal. So obviously, like normal humans, the first thing you do is go, oh my God, the families of the people on that flight. But Chris, it is hard not to have politics involved because of, as you said, when we got in here, of course, Trump shot his mouth off looking for who to blame first.
Exactly.
And this is what it's going to be like with any national tragedy. And you can't help but go, imagine if this was under Joe Biden's administration and Defense Department. And you're just like, oh, my God, right? Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says, the reality show guy Sean Duffy of the TSA says, right? All of these wildly unqualified picks. And thank you. As you said, Kari Sellers had linked to this as well. Alex said if Joe Biden had fired 100 FAA employees and a plane crash happened just a few hours later, Fox News would bring Lou Dobbs back from the dead with wall-to-wall coverage blaming it on Biden. I mean, and we had to go Google right? Because I couldn't remember exactly with all the effery of the past week. Trump fires the heads of the TSA, Coast Guard, and Guts Key Aviation Safety Advisory Committee. I mean, oh my God.
And all three of those were on site at this plane crash in the Potomac.
President Donald Trump has moved quickly to remake the Department of Homeland Security by firing the heads of the Transportation Security Administration and Coast Guard before their terms are up, while eliminating all members of a key aviation security advisory group. As we said then, what could possibly go wrong? And we were just saying, can you imagine the homophobic slurs that would already be out there if Pete Buttigieg was still
calling him a DEI hire?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's why I said, thank God we got rid of all the DEI hires. Right.
And I mean, Sean Duffy comes out and says, this isn't supposed to happen.
Yeah. But here we are with the media. Kari Sellers, who I love, just links to this factual story. About him gutting aviation safety and got a talking to from CNN.
He had to rescind it. And
okay, yes, we understand. But
bodies
Trump
were still
didn't
in the
wait
water.
even a second. Even before they, it was not even it was still a search and rescue mission when Trump's like, you could tell he's always going to be like, who do you blame? Oh, the helicopter pilot should have done this and the other should have done that, based on zero information.
Exactly.
You can feel him looking for how to score political points and who do I blame? And really, it happened on your administration, under your Defense Department. That's your Army helicopter. You just are the one that put in this wildly unqualified head of the Defense Department. I mean, Brooklyn Dad Defiant, all our friends. I'm wondering, sometimes I go to social media because I'm like, am I thinking the same thing everyone else is? And the answer is yes. Brooklyn Dad said, good morning, happy Thursday. Everyone who remembers vividly how every time there was a tragic accident, Trump and Republicans were quick to blame President Biden no matter the circumstance. The Black Hawk incident last night could have been avoided. Blame Trump. Dean Obadala said, if this plane accident happened under Biden, Trump and Fox News would be calling for criminal prosecution of Biden. Yes. I'm just taking a page from the GOP playbook. Trump and Pete Hegseth need to be criminally investigated for this. The buck stops with the boss.
And Sean Duffy. He's Secretary of Transportation. He needs to be investigated too.
The reality show.
Yes.
What was the reality show he was from?
The Real World. Real World Boston.
Yes, sure, yeah.
And he married a girl from the Real World San Francisco.
Of course, because of course he did. Okay.
That's Rachel Campos Duffy.
Yes. As I said, thank God we got rid of all the DEI hires because, things seem to be going much better. If it feels like Armageddon since Trump's been in for a week, it is. We were just talking about, I don't know what's like okay. I don't even know how to put into words just this last day. Is it to distract from the disaster that was Bobby Kennedy's confirmation hearing, how many lies he got caught in, how wildly unqualified he is. Now you have Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard coming up next in this pileup of just wildly unqualified nominees. We were saying, I don't even understand what's going on with the spending freeze, except that as usual, Trump backed down, and then they made it more confusing and even more chaotic, right? The spending freeze is rescinded because the court stopped them. Then they're like, Caroline Leavitt, fembot, is like, no, not really. No, yeah, sort of, but not really. I mean, it's just this. But
chaos.
But they're
it's
saying
all
there's an
chaos.
OMB memo that this is by design.
Yeah.
They want to go to court and have him. They think it's his Supreme Court, and no matter what he does, ultimately they'll say, okay, right? Just take away the power of the purse from Congress, just like magic, like that. Okay.
That's unconstitutional.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
You know.
Hold on. Hold, please.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
My box was a little sticky. Not your fault, Bella.
You need some lube?
Yes. I need
You need a lot
more
of
than
things.
that. I need more than that this morning. Oh, my God. I have to say, sorry, completely preventable tragedy. When have you ever heard of this happening? That's what I always fly is American Airlines. They went down in the Potomac near Reagan Airport after colliding with a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter, 9 p.m. local time. So it was from Wichita, Kansas. There were a bunch of figure skaters and coaches returning from championships. Trump released a statement. Again, bodies in the water. Right? Mm-hmm. Seeming to question the actions of the helicopter pilots, air traffic control. He will never take responsibility for anything.
Nope.
This will suddenly not be his Defense Department, right? Nothing. Sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Nothing. I was agreeing with you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah,
one of those rare occasions where I agree with you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A whole new era of the Stephanie Miller show.
Oh my God.
Right?
Good Lord.
Bella is fitting in like a glove over there. She's just as big a weirdo as we are. I don't know how we...
We found out this morning
her.
She likes the dark humor.
I do.
She does.
I do.
She does. I don't remember what I said. Was it something I shouldn't say on air? Probably.
I don't remember.
Let's be cautious.
Okay. She's the new owner of the dump button over there.
She is. Now that she knows where it is.
Yes.
Thanks to
You
yesterday.
can't help it, right? Because you're like, someone tweeted, "Oh, Pete Hegseth's drunk ass has only been in 2 days," and it's like, oh my God. But this is what all of they've been doing is focusing on this DEI hires and was it a black pilot? It's just and obviously cutting funding for what do you call it, the aviation security, whatever. Yeah, a truth seeker said, now a word from idiot Trump with a reminder of how we got here. They retweet a lot of people. Unfortunately, facts, you can't make them disappear from the internet. There are headlines about him gutting the FAA and aviation security. And it's, and putting someone wildly unqualified in charge of the Defense Department. And here we are. Sorry. This is the head of the CEO of American Airlines.
Most importantly, I'd like to express our deep sorrow about these events. This is a difficult day for all of us at American Airlines, and our efforts now are focused entirely on the needs of our passengers, crew members, partners, first responders, along with their families and loved ones.
Yep. And then one more from CNN last night.
To put this in the context for you, Reagan National Airport is right across the river on the Maryland side is Joint Base Anacostia Bowling. That is where the presidential helicopter fleet is based. You'll often see Marine One staged there, as well as the decoy helicopters that are part of the flight. When there is a presidential movement, you'll often also see Black Hawk helicopters there as well.
Can I just say to my point, this was even before the plane crash happened, but to my point, White House blames Biden for killing 100 million chickens, refuses to admit Trump broken vow on costly eggs. So they are obviously called to prevent the spread of bird flu, which now we can't even get any information on because Trump, we're going to talk to Dr. Redlener about that because he's shut down the CDC, God knows what, for communicating with us at all.
Yep.
Is Bobby Kennedy going to get confirmed? Because I can't. I can only
Probably.
I can only take so much
Probably.
this week. I keep saying, we talked about this before the break. This is what happens being a Kennedy or a Trump, and you have yes people kissing your ass your entire life. Just everything you say, oh, really, Bobby? Oh, that's fascinating. Him sitting there expounding on these podcasts with the most lunatic theories that are going to get countless people killed, right? And then he lies constantly. He just goes, nah, I never said that. And then they play it, and he's... and I think someone documented how many times he said it.
Yep.
Things like, there's no safe, effective vaccine. The polio vaccine killed more kids than polio. Like, just this lunacy, right? And it's You were saying people kiss his ass at the gym that you
Yes.
go to.
Yeah.
This is what happens when people kiss your ass your whole life.
That's right.
They just like pretend this lunatic is saying something profound when he's
Just because he has the last name of Kennedy.
right. This is what Caroline Kennedy was trying to say.
Exactly.
Let's listen to a little, and then we're gonna move on. We have our usual Carl Frisch. We have Dana Goldberg.
Yep.
We have Dr. Redlener. Ron Wyden yesterday.
In your testimony today, in order to prove you're not anti-vax, you note that all your kids are vaccinated. But in a podcast
Hypocrite.
in 2020, you said, and I quote, you would do anything, pay anything to go back in time and not vaccinate your kids. Mr. Kennedy, all of these things cannot be true. So, are you lying to Congress today when you say you are pro-vaccine, or did you lie on all those podcasts?
Countless times on tape.
Could you hear him creepily breathing in the background?
That was his.
That was Kennedy's breathing.
I like that.
Jesus
I like that
Christ.
someone said he looks like a boiled catcher's mitt.
He does.
Really? He's going to tell us what's healthy? Look at you. Jesus. I'm sorry, but dear God. I don't even know where to start with this. It just... By the way, I mentioned this yesterday, but I was correct. His approval ratings have already plummeted.
Uh-huh.
We mentioned yesterday the top search, Google search, is people who regret voting for Trump because it seems like some of those people were warned, and I don't. But so we're not even a weekend. But sorry.
You were born.
Yeah, I'm stretching to give baby Bella. We're gonna call her Baby Bella till she's like 60.
You were warned, you dummy twits. You were warned, we tried to tell you. You were warned, now deal with it.
She and I had to talk about Baby Bella yesterday.
Oh, we did?
She's not the biggest fan of that.
You don't like that?
You know, I don't mind it. I
Okay.
don't mind it.
Oh, okay.
But I've gotten that nickname a lot
Oh, all
in
right.
all of my jobs post-grad because
All right.
I tend to be the youngest in the room.
Oh, okay.
So, in a way, it's a testament. So I'm like, oh, yes,
I will not do that ever again, and I will certainly not play this sound effect.
you can. I give you permission.
Baby Bella, I will not do it again. Did you explain to her when people tell me not to do something? What
She
happens?
does it 10 times over.
All right.
Oh, good.
No, but not the Baby Bella because I love her. Oops, because I love her.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm a bag of D's. Okay. 18 minutes after the hour, this portion of the show brought to you by... Oh, Bob. You know, the first Trump administration, we used to call it the fire hose, or the tennis ball machine of lies. Now it's like it's both of them together every second of every day, right?
Yeah. And I'm so happy that the Democrats have risen to the occasion. Man, the fighting spirit that we're hearing from Chuck Schumer. It's like the Spanish Inquisition from Monty Python. He might bring out the soft cushions and poke you with the comfy chair. He might force you to sit in the comfy chair.
I was screaming at the TV when I was getting that soundbite yesterday. I'm like, show some passion,
I mean, in some
anger.
ways, Bob, I guess it's how we're built. Remember Jim Ward used to do an impression of Harry Reid going, I'm sorry you had to see me like this. Just no matter what the subject was or how mad he was,
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, just Democrats with fire, that can match the what do we call it? The fierce urgency of now. If yesterday didn't wake people up, I mean, I thought I saw a thing about Trump's approval rating plummeting already. I wouldn't be surprised. The number one Google search, people who regret voting for Trump. I mean, this is why we have the jingle, you were warned. We're like, oh my God, Trump voters, Latinos who thought like, oh, he's not going to deport my undocumented relatives because they're not criminals. Guess what?
Right.
He just did.
Yeah. The only thing that's saving me from jumping out that window right over there is telling people, we tried to warn you. I told you so has been kind of the dominant attitude right now. But it's true. I mean, all of this stuff, we've been screaming about this for at least a couple of years now, if not a decade, where obviously Donald Trump is implementing all the prongs of Project 2025, all the way down to what Steve Bannon has been referring to all along.
Kamala Harris used to say, can you believe they wrote all this down? They wrote it all down.
It's all written down, yes, and it was all intentional. And the Heritage Foundation had been spending years recruiting replacements for all these federal workers who have now been given this buyout deal that lasts until
Thank you.
September,
By the way,
and then they're going to have to go.
Tim
Yeah.
Kaine showing a little fire from your neck of the woods over there. I mean, him saying, do not take this deal. He's going to screw you over like every other contractor he's worked with. Do not do this. They're telling, oh, my goodness, we have a strongly worded letter, Bob, about the, hang on. Chuck Grassley, who apparently is still alive. By the way, don't you like that he's 91 and in charge of Trump's agenda? And remember, we just lost an election because age is, you remember that.
Yeah, stick a mirror under his nose just to be sure.
I bet you that someone does every morning. No, he's still here. Okay. Chuck Grassley joined Dick Durbin and sent a strongly worded letter to Trump demanding an explanation for firing of most inspectors general. They said, we write to you today concerning the reported... He's going to wipe his ass with this, but okay. Congress was not provided the legally required 30-day notice and case-specific reasons for removal as required by law. Remember those laws? Accordingly, we request you provide that information immediately. Well, Bob, as you've said for years, too, so who's going to stop him? Is a strongly worded letter from Chuck Grassley going to stop him?
No, obviously not. But I think the courts may do it. I think the courts will set up some roadblocks and stop some of this stuff. But the question then comes down to, as far as constitutional crisis goes, is whether Donald Trump listens to the courts. And as we know, Donald Trump, one of his heroes is Andrew Jackson, who defied the will of the Supreme Court during his presidency. So that's when the S will hit the fan or not. And so I'm waiting to see on that. But, I think with this...
Well, we're in our. I'm not joking. We are in our first constitutional crisis of the Trump presidency. A week in.
If we're not in it now, we're on the way for sure.
Right.
But as far as this federal spending freeze goes, I think this is a negotiation tactic where they stop all federal spending. And then when some of the federal spending is resumed, like I think Medicaid is going to be, those portals are going to be reopened if they haven't already reopened, et cetera. Then we're going to be satisfied with that, but let all the other stuff go away. It's like asking for more in a negotiation only to get it whittled down to where you actually wanted to be in the first place.
Yeah. Thank you for not keeping the cameras on during the commercial break like you did yesterday so people could watch me shoveling food into my mouth.
People love that.
Well, you know what? It has just completely blown up my image, my ladylike image, to watch me shoveling food in to beat the commercial break. Chris forgot to turn the cameras off. Okay, enjoy. It's a potato with low-fat cottage cheese and little grape tomatoes, just for everybody that wanted to know what I was shoveling in my
It looks like an ice
my
cream
maw.
sundae. It does look like an ice cream sundae.
It's delicious and nutritious. Okay, Joe is a commercial pilot. Hey, Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you today?
Well, you
Hello?
know. Yeah,
Hello?
go ahead.
Yes?
Can you?
Yeah,
can
go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yep, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Joe.
got some tidbits. Did you know that Trump Force One? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Oh my
Trump
God.
Force One got violated, taking off last summer, flew right over the Capitol. But, what I think happened.
It's almost like
I
he
used to
doesn't think
fly
any
in there all
rules
the time.
apply to him. Yeah. Joe,
No, they don't.
All right,
But
okay,
anyway.
all right, Joe. I don't know what's going on. I could hear him. I don't understand,
yeah.
but let's try back on a different phone. Let's go to Andrew in Ohio. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Stephanie, man, it is so frustrating. I wish Kamala Harris or some other leading Democrat who wants to be president would publish a daily journal of the things they would be accomplishing and doing that would improve our lives instead of, it would provide contrast to the wackadoodle crap we're exposed to daily.
Yeah.
I would love to see what they would be doing in comparison to what we're experiencing. Thank you.
Yeah. No, listen. It is hard. It boggles the mind. By the way, the story I sent you, I'm going to do all the Trump voters that are like, huh? What now?
What? Oh, yeah.
What is happening? Yeah, there was one that's like, I haven't heard anything from Trump on how, like buying making it easier to buy a house. I'm like, you know who did talk about that? Kamala Harris. Got in a specific plan. All this is chaos and retribution.
Yep.
And you tell me. So the one thing I will say is obviously the resistance works. Where is it? Give me 14. Chuck Schumer talking about this ridiculous chaos with the spending freeze.
Today, we saw what happens when Americans fight back against disastrous policies. Americans made their voices heard. Donald Trump rescinded the OMB order. When the Trump administration announced this awful directive on Monday night, we knew immediately it was short-sighted, disastrous, cruel, and dumb.
I think he took voice coaching from you. He seemed a little more.
Not really.
Okay. So, Trump administration's federal government funding freeze instituted Monday, apparently rescinded Wednesday, appears to be part of the White House's official policy to get courts to hand Trump the power to pick and choose which congressionally authorized funding he will spend, which, as you said, is clearly unconstitutional. Yeah. So on Wednesday, the administration rescinded the memo, but then claimed the policy was still in effect, and officials only rescinded the memo to get courts to drop the restraining order. A second judge issued another temporary restraining. Let me just get some background. Issued another temporary restraining order on Wednesday after the administration rescinded the original memo. The confusing series of events and conflicting statements and actions may be a fiasco, but the confidential OMB document makes on fomenting the very court challenge over the president's power to not spend. Elon Musk had tweeted yesterday, President Musk tweeted, we believe the current Supreme Court will likely side with him on this question. This is going to be their game plan on everything. Yep. By the way, we're, in case you're paying attention, at the concentration camp phase of this. Talking about opening Gitmo to put undocumented immigrants in. And first of all, there's 600 and something beds. He said he's going to put 30,000. How much taxpayer money is that? Ask the Department of Government Efficiency. And by the way, the planes that landed in Colombia had 0 criminals on them. There were women and children. Okay. In light of the injunction, the OMB has rescinded the memo to end any confusion on federal policy created by the court ruling and dishonest media coverage, said fembot Caroline Levitt. Really? So it's the media's fault?
Right.
The executive orders issued by the president remain in full force and blah, 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 blah. Just by design. More chaos, more confusion, and complete incompetence. All right. Carl Frisch, next.
hundreds of millions of Americans. And the American people are outraged, from one end of the country to the other, and it is clear that President Trump and his minions are feeling the heat.
Okay. I had to have Chris, a layperson, explain this to me.
Oh, okay.
Because I literally was like, I don't even understand what's going on with it. And you said exactly what I thought. It's Trump not wanting to look like he's backing down, which he did, because he's a giant C. And by the way, he's the one that backed down media in this Colombia, deportation flight fiasco.
Right. Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Right.
But
he doesn't want to admit that he backed down, so he sends everyone else
it's
saying,
like, no, there's not really a spending freeze. Of course there is, because it's legally in place from a judge. And so he had to send the Fembot out to lie and go, oh, no, there's not really. I didn't really. It's not really rescinded. Yes, it is. You back down because you're a giant C.
Yep.
Sorry. I'm in a mood this
You
morning
are in a
for
mood.
so many reasons. I need my friend.
Carl.
Carl Frisch. Let's talk to our fancy Fairfax County School Board friend, shall we? CarlFrisch.com. Carl Frisch, thinking of you this morning. we were saying, I was just on that flight flying into Reagan for DC Sexy Liberal a couple of weeks ago. And your thoughts just this
Nothing
morning.
you want to, I saw the news last night as I was going to bed, and, it's horrible. So, right now, the internet is just filled with speculation here in Northern Virginia area, so we're reading for more information. I think everybody is.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people on Facebook grieving loved ones.
Yeah. And Carl, it's hard. That's the problem, is it's hard not to inject politics at a time when, as we said, you just knew it. You don't even have to look. You knew on social media Trump was going to shoot his mouth off, trying to figure out who he can blame, right? Never himself. Never. It's his Defense Department. It's their Black Hawk helicopter. None of that. It's his defense secretary. It's his, reality show host, head of the TSA. I mean, they think we don't have Google. To Google Trump fires heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and Guts Key Aviation Safety Advisory Committee. They think we don't have access to what just happened, and it's hard, Carl, in this environment, because it. If it was Biden and it was Pete Buttigieg, what they'd be saying, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's telling that you can't even wait for everybody to be notified and for all the information to come out that the excuses would begin. So I think we'll wait to see what happens here. But right now, my focus is on.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry, you're breaking up a little, Carl, but I can hear every other word. I think it's. I was saying, I don't even know. You don't even know what's distracting from what. I mean, that was first of all, as we were just saying, the budget freeze, that was a fiasco. Bobby Kennedy, another fiasco on top of that. We have two new fiascos coming up in Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard. Just talk to us first, because you were in politics a long time, about this ridiculous, unconstitutional spending freeze.
Who knew that the clown car could fill so much?
You're right.
Look, the government has certain things that it must do to continue operation. And the Trump administration tried to put a hold on a significant amount of work that is done to help everyday Americans. And so when people think about whether or not this administration is doing what it said it would do, make life a little easier for them, make cost of living a little easier for them, this is an example, just another example of how they're not doing that because they don't care. And so, the truth has emerged that Trump is using these working families that are helped by things like Medicaid, helped by things like Meals on Wheels, helped by VA benefits. He's using those people to try and convince the courts that he should have more power. I think, if anything, the first 2 weeks of his administration have shown that he doesn't deserve more power. He deserves true accountability.
Yeah. I mean, somebody tweeted about Malcolm Nance on yesterday. Malcolm Nance is 100% right. Hitler dismantled democracy in 53 days. We need to get our Democratic Party leadership to act like the house is on fire, or they need to get out of the way. Someone else said, listen to Malcolm Nance on today's Stephanie Miller show. He's screamy, shouty, spot on when it comes to Trump's rapid dismantling of our country. Adolf Hitler ended democracy in 53 days. We're on track to do it in less than 2 weeks. Call Congress, 202-224-3121. I mean, it seems to have worked thus far with the spending freeze that, people are, I'm hoping, Carl, more people, the people that are like, oh, I can't, I'm tuning out, I'm checking out of politics, they're waking up now because they don't have any choice, right?
Yeah, and, they're waking up in red areas too. You look at the heat maps of where these benefits are most important, where states are relying on them the most. Many of those places are red states or red areas in this country. And so those people are finding out the hard way of what happens. And so Congress does need to do its job. I'm confident that we have leaders in Congress who will stand up to the administration and hold it accountable. But I also know that there's a majority in Congress right now who will not do that. And we need to do everything we can to expose both.
Yeah. So here's our new best friend, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who was on the show last week with Bobby Kennedy.
Americans are going to need to hear a clear and trustworthy recantation of what you have said on vaccinations, including a promise from you never to say vaccines aren't medically safe when they in fact are. You're in that hole pretty deep. We've just had a measles case in Rhode Island, the first since 2013. And frankly, you frighten people.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, you're that, what's that?
His former roommate.
They were roommates. That's right.
Oh, that's right. From Harvard Law.
Yes.
Yeah. You're the head of a school board, Carl. I mean, this is, I thought Maggie Hassan was great. Real quick, let me get your reaction on this one as well.
One of the people who helped raise me was my grandfather, who was a pediatrician. He practiced medicine in this country from 1921 until the mid-1980s. And I heard details about the difference those vaccines made in saving lives in the children who were under his care. Vaccination has helped to eradicate many deadly diseases in the United States, including polio and smallpox, something we should be proud of as Americans. I am extremely concerned that as Secretary, you would be able to halt critical vaccine research and to exploit parents' natural worries by advising them not to vaccinate their children.
I mean, he is on record as saying the polio vaccine killed more, kids than polio did.
He's not just on the record. He is the record.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that's probably the best Bobby Kennedy's ever done, being questioned. And it was abysmal. It was awful. I think my favorite line was, out of 330 million Americans, we must have somebody better out there for this job.
Yeah. Someone said you could take 10 random people off the street that would be better for this job.
Probably. But, this is what we're left with. And I don't think we should fool ourselves. If Kennedy is stopped and he's not confirmed, this administration will pick somebody equally dangerous.
And Carl, as a gay man, I'm not a gay man, you are.
Right.
Let me just clarify.
You're a gay woman.
Sure. Carl.
That's out of the bag.
Is this what the American people want? Marco Rubio has banned the flying of the rainbow flag. Arizona Republicans, a Republican bill will ban pride flags on government property. Move forward, despite free speech, implications. The basic intent behind this came from my time in the military, said whoever the Republican. Oh, of Surprise, Arizona. Do you know where Surprise is?
It's a suburb of Phoenix.
Yeah. I believe Dan Savage said I've sat on less gay faces. I don't know for sure, but I feel like the surprise might be a surprise for his wife. But I don't know. But Carl, this is what they're working on? What family does this bother? Whether a rainbow flag flies somewhere.
I don't think this is bringing down the price of eggs.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think this is bringing down the price of gas, the price of health care, or the price of everyday items that families need to survive, or the price of college, or anything else that the American people want out of their government.
And by the way, the fembot, Caroline Leavitt, said, the president is elected in a landslide and a mandate, blah, blah, blah. What did she say? Oh, he's doing wildly popular things with the American public. That is completely untrue. right? This is why they ran away from Project 2025. It was wildly unpopular. I'm just looking at the Idaho House passed a resolution calling on the Supreme Court to overturn marriage equality. As I'm looking, about 70% in the latest Gallup poll believe marriage equality, should stay the law of the land. And this, of course, comes after Clarence Thomas expressed interest in revisiting Obergefell. So, they're opening the door for this.
Don't forget, they also expressed an interest in birth control. So,
right.
This is the chaos that you get from a chaos agent. President Chaos will continue to bring chaos to this country. And I think it's got a very short life on the shelf in terms of the American people's tolerance for it, especially when nothing seems to be being done on their behalf.
Right. Do you
see the actions that they, quote unquote, voted for?
Yeah.
Even the things that Trump said he won because of, he's not taking any action on.
All right. Do you think all of this culture war stuff will bode well for maybe Democrats in the midterms?
Yes. It didn't, the culture war stuff didn't work in the last election. I know that a lot of it was used to try and motivate their base, but you look at the polling and people wanted change because they thought that, the proper response was not being given to the economy.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, there are deep concerns in the country about people's personal economic well-being, and this administration is doing nothing about it. At least Kamala Harris had a plan.
Yeah.
69 Republican representatives backed bill banning abortion nationwide, the Life at Conception Act. Again, majorities of Americans still pro-choice. I'm looking at this. Amy Siskin said that didn't take long. Disapproval of Trump rose by 7 points from 39% to 46% disapproval. Approval down to 45%. So he's already in negative territory 1 week in. I feel like there's a lot of. Mari said I didn't around, but I'm finding out because half of America doesn't have critical thinking skills. Carl, that's where you come in and education comes in. Because I keep saying, yes, there was massive disinformation, but what is going on with Americans' critical thinking skills that they believe these ridiculous lies? And here we are a week in, already even polling showing massive regret over voting for Trump.
I think, first we have to remember that not everybody who voted for Trump is our, there were people who voted for Trump who wanted change and they wanted improvement in the economy. I think that was the wrong choice. But those people are waking up to the fact that this administration has no interest in helping them and that his entire interest is on settling scores, attacking marginalized communities, and doing favors for the billionaires he's putting on his cabinet and throughout his administration.
Yeah. I can't, Chris, I don't even have the heart to go see what they're saying on the right wing and how I'm sure they're somehow still blaming Biden for this air disaster that happened clearly under Trump's watch.
Well, when that boat ran into that bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, they immediately blamed Biden and Buttigieg. Yeah. Immediately. And there were still bodies in the water.
Yeah. I didn't have the stomach for it this morning. As you said, Carl, still, bodies in the water there, but it really is extraordinary that we know reflexively there would have been homophobic slurs about Pete Buttigieg. There would, it's anyway.
There were.
Yeah, there absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, Carl, best of luck to you.
Yeah. And best of luck to the entire D.C. and Northern Virginia community.
Yeah. All right. I send in love and light to your way. All right, honey. Okay, thanks, Carl. 47 minutes after the hour, this portion of the show brought to you by... Hiya, Sailor. Hi.
Oh, hi, Steph. You just caught me reading my prayer cards. Organizing them for the next 4 years.
Malcolm, I'm not even sure you can get shoutier than your normal Shouty McShouterson, but we're a week in, and we are in a constitutional crisis already, right? It is, it's sort of beyond, and that's part of the plan, isn't it? To be beyond any one human's comprehension to talk about.
It's the fire hose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I was looking at massive protests in Germany against the far right, party there. I thought this is the problem is I don't know what the hell, we're asleep doing Wordle something, because yesterday I'm like, why are we not in the streets? Why? This is really a full-on crisis just a week in, isn't it?
Yes, but on the other hand, I have to tell you, the Germans have been organizing against the AfD, which is that sort of semi-neo-Nazi run organization in their country, Alternative for Deutschland, for years. So they've got a healthy, organized base of political opposition.
Because they've seen this before.
But the last time we did this with the Women's March in 2017, it fizzled out for the sole reason that there are a lot of people in the Democratic Party who all want their little silos and will not work together. It goes with podcasters. It goes with people who are on Twitter and Blue Sky, and they're all shouting, subscribe to me, but no one is working as a unified organization. Now, maybe that will resolve itself. I'm working with people trying to get this, to start creating a resistance command in this country. But I'm going to reserve that extra shouty piece this week, certainly in my Substack, because I've been pretty shouty in my Substacks this week, up to the Democratic Party leadership. And I am speaking to them right now.
Chris and I have been talking about this all morning. We've been talking about this all morning.
I know. But
we have to have a 24/7 war room to knock down the quick reaction to all of these Substacks, podcasts, all of it. Because like we were saying, to have a sleepy news conference 24, 48 hours later, it's not cutting it.
Nope. Not at all.
Yeah, and you know what? To tell you the truth, even a war room, I saw the Harris war room. All of these guys were really quick and fast. The problem is that you're playing by rules that have gone out now a decade ago.
Yep.
You're coming up and you're trying to go through civility at a time of outrage. You need to raise your voice, and the first words out of your mouth when they lie about the Constitution is, you are a liar. Not, oh, you're misleading us, or you're masticating the truth, or you're having a hard time getting down that. No. Call them the liars.
By the way,
they are.
I've seen you echoing our other good friend Michael Steele. I mean, and what does it say to us? Someone that's still a Republican is trying to blow the clarion, to Democrats that you've got to fight differently. That screw this. What do you want to call it? Civility, or whatever.
The three biggest voices this week, calling on the Democrats to fight were Rick Wilson, former Republican. Michael Steele, former Republican.
Joe Walsh,
former Republican.
Yeah.
Somebody explain to me why in the Democratic Party it's not about getting a war room. It's about organizing yourselves as a caucus to oppose them as the opposing party. No more votes alongside of them with comedy and peacefulness and bipartisanship. Zero. Stop that.
We should point out, Donald,
for major projects. Why are we accommodating them and making it look like their craziness is bipartisan?
Right. By the way, we should point out he said comedy, as in COMITY. We're not for that, but comedy is comedy COMEDY is going to be essential.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to point that out. Sounds very similar. Yesterday's constitutional crisis brought to you by Trump ordered a freeze on potentially trillions of dollars in federal funding to Americans, impacting everything from education grants to small business loans, sparking accusations he is violating the Constitution.
Americans are getting a crash course, no pun intended, this week in the role that government agencies play in our lives, from delivering health care, putting safe food on our tables, feeding our children, and keeping a safe front on our roads and airline travel. And so it may be too soon to draw that direct line to Trump firing the heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and gutting key aviation safety advisory committee members. But this is what happens. So when the Republicans run around and scream about big government is ruining your lives and everything's broken and all the rest of it, I think that people are starting to wake up to the fact that this is good government that has been keeping all of us safe.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing what
Karen,
happens when we don't have that.
I don't think the American people have any confidence in them to do their own investigations. Do you think any investigation will ever blame Trump's administration for anything? I mean, Pete Hegseth is in charge of the, investigation, and who's
Sean Duffy.
Yeah, the reality show guy.
Yeah, but that is exactly why I love that caller that said that Kamala Harris should be keeping a journal and talking about what she would be doing in that role. And the Democrats need to be messaging it that way, and that is why it is so important for them to be the opposition party to everything that is happening.
Yeah. We haven't
getting out
seen the
there
Democrats
every
being the
single day.
opposition party as of late. And that's kind of upsetting to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, well, listen, Malcolm Nance said that yesterday. I think we all know how different things would be under Kamala Harris. But it's, the problem is we don't tend to politicize like they do. Like we were saying, you knew if this happened under Biden, they would have been politicizing the bejesus out of it. You can tell right now
100%.
they don't know what to do or who to blame. You can see, Trump trying to blame someone that.
That was the most irresponsible thing he's done yet. Quite honestly.
Yes, and really, this is why, though. I mean, again, it may be too soon to draw that direct line, but we can expect more of this. And the reality of the situation, like you said, Stephanie, darn well, if it was Biden that was in when this happened, of course they would be screaming about it. They would be demanding investigations. So that's what our Democratic leadership needs to do. They need to start demanding investigations and use that headline.
Right.
Whether it is or it isn't, we need to do that. I mean, look what they did with Benghazi.
Yeah.
Look what they've done every single time. I mean, we need to
that's
start
what I'm
fighting
saying
that
is
way.
Kamala Harris and Democrats are not built that way. That they're not going to, that's the problem. This is what Trump does, is
That
try
is
to
the
figure out
problem.
how to politicize every tragedy. How do I score political points? And okay. Chris, who said if you voted for Trump, you have leprosy of the soul? Who said that?
Dick Dastardly.
No, Carlos Elzraki on this very show. I frequently enjoy this show more afterwards when I find out what happened, because I don't really know when I'm here.
Until you read it later.
Yeah, then I'm like, wow, that was good. That happened here?
Yeah, we actually have a good show sometimes.
Yeah, Bella's still not over that Carlos was the Taco Bell Chihuahua.
That actually blew my mind.
Yeah.
It was.
She and her roommates were like Googling.
Dying about it.
Yeah, like on YouTube the entire night last night watching Taco Bell commercials.
It's so alien to me.
Oh, all her dreams coming true. See? Okay. All right, 58 minutes after the hour, Dr. Irwin will read.
deliberately targeted. I just quoted an NIH-funded and NIH published study.
Did you say that it targets black and white people but spared Ashkenazi Jews?
I quoted a study, Your Honor. I quoted an NIH study that showed that.
I'll take that as
certain
yes.
races.
God. Lunatic.
Yep.
Kevin Cruz posts former heroin addict and apparent steroid user who looks like a boiled catcher's mitt and sounds like someone who gargles hot tar. I just want Americans to be healthy. Okay, I'm not saying.
Spasmodic dysphonia is a real thing.
Right. I don't certainly endorse that. I'm just saying what he said. Okay, we found the story.
You're just quoting a study?
Yeah, I'm just quoting a study.
Okay.
Who looks most like a boiled catcher's mitt. Okay. I remember doing this story, Chris. This was, right? I can't remember.
From the 21st, January 21st, I believe.
Associated Press,
yes.
Correct. Trump fires heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and GUTS Key Aviation Safety Advisory Committee. Members for the Aviation Security Advisory Committee received a memo Tuesday saying the department is eliminating the membership of all advisory committees as part of, quote, a commitment to eliminating the misuse of resources and ensuring the DHS activities prioritize our national security, meaning the stupid border.
Yep.
The Aviation Security Committee, which was mandated by Congress after 1988, Pan Am 103 bombing over Lockerbie, Scotland, will technically continue to exist, but it won't have any members to carry out the work of examining safety issues at airlines and airports. I remember saying this and going, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Before Tuesday, the group included representatives of all the key groups in the industry, including the airlines and major unions, as well as members of a group associated with the victims of the Pan Am 103 bombing. The vast majority of the group's recommendations were adopted over the years. I naively thought, they're not going to do anything in this new administration to put security at risk, aviation security at risk, but now I'm not so sure, said Stephanie Bernstein, whose husband was killed in the bombing and served on the committee. I mean, oh my God. Do elections have consequences? But it's, it's part of the same theme to the Bobby Kennedy hearing, Chris, in that it's just this rejection of expertise in general. Any kind of expertise, science, you name it. Let's talk to our friend.
If I'm going to get bad news, I want from him because he's very
expertise.
handsome. Dr. Irwin Redletter joins us now. MSNBC medical expert. Dr. Irwin Redletter.
Here he became Dr. Doom.
Dr. Irwin Redletter is the founding director of the National Center for Disaster Preparedness and senior research scholar.
Dr. Doom.
Hello.
Science.
Yes. I can't even imagine what you felt like watching Bobby Kennedy yesterday. I mean,
it was actually very hard to watch. It was, the cringeworthy meme cliche comes into play. I mean, his face would get red and wrinkled and terrified, and he was fumbling to answer basic questions. About half of Americans are on Medicare or Medicaid. Yeah. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
Even under friendly questioning, he seemed to fall apart.
He knows less than my mother knew when she was 91 about Medicare. And look, this is a guy who's totally unqualified, who I fear may still get confirmed. It's just incredible.
It's astounding. I'm reading the reporting, Doc, saying just what you said about Medicare and Medicaid. He was asked questions about these programs. His answers were halting, vague, in some instances, fill out incorrect. It could mean he was nervous and misspeaking. It also could mean he does not understand the vital programs over which he would preside. Right. They were saying Bill Cassidy is the Republican doctor. That was friendly questioning he was falling apart under. I mean, you said, so with all we know about Mr. Kennedy's truly outlandish ideas, it's particularly surprising we have nary a word from the American Medical Association and other major medical organizations that should be strongly and publicly opposing his nomination. What's up with that, Doc, do you think?
I don't know. The AMA is a union for doctors. They have a lot of things that they need to get through the HHS regulations and, compensation for doctors, et cetera. Who knows what their motives are? But the fact that they have not spoken out against this nominee is just extraordinary, and including, by the way, the American Academy of Pediatrics my organization, hasn't said a word either about this violent, vehement anti-vaxxer. And I don't know. I think there's going to have a lot to answer for
Doc,
these guys.
The record is extraordinary of times he's on tape, on video, on audio. He has claimed links between vaccine and autism on 36 occasions in public appearances, despite scientific evidence debunking such claims. On at least 144 occasions, he has broadly rebuked vaccines as dangerous and ineffective. And he just lies. I mean, I don't know. Apparently, there's no consequence for that anymore, for just flat out saying, I didn't say that, and then them playing the, right?
Well, we have this whole other pathology of why there's any question that we won't get enough Republicans who refuse to go along with Donald Trump here. This is a mystery that's going to have to be unlocked somewhere. It can't be that all of them are terrified of being, primaried by Elon Musk. Yeah. I just don't understand this fealty to Donald Trump and whatever he seems to want to do across the board.
Yeah.
From, Ukraine and social services to the nominees that he's putting forward. And look, it's a frightening moment in American history, I'll tell you that.
Senator Bennett, God bless him, tried to go through a few with a lunatic.
Did you say that Lyme disease is highly likely a materially engineered bioweapon? I made sure I put in the highly likely. Did you say Lyme disease is a highly likely militarily engineered bioweapon?
I probably did say that.
Did you say that?
And that's what the developer of Lyme
I want all of our colleagues to hear it, Mr. Kennedy. I want them to hear it. You said yes.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Okay, one more.
Did you say that exposure to pesticides causes children to become transgender?
No, I never said that.
Okay, I have the record that I'll give to the chairman, and he can make his judgment about what you said. Did you write in your book, and it's undeniable, that African AIDS is an entirely different disease from Western AIDS? Yes or no, Mr. Kennedy?
I'm not sure if I made that.
Okay, I'll give it to the chairman, Mr. Kennedy.
He doesn't know what he wrote in his own book?
So we have it. We have it on tape, the first one, real quick.
I think a lot of the problems we see in kids, and particularly boys, it's probably underappreciated that how much of that is coming from chemical exposures, including a lot of the sexual dysphoria that we're seeing. They're swimming through a soup of toxic chemicals today, and many of those are endocrine disruptors. There's atrazine throughout our water supply. Atrazine, by the way, if you in a lab put atrazine in a tank full of frogs, it will chemically castrate and forcibly feminize every frog in there.
We keep saying, Doc, this is what happens from people kissing your ass your whole life because you're a Kennedy.
Right.
People listening to that going, oh, really? He's a dumb person's
cousin,
idea of a smart person, right?
And then you have his cousin 2 days ago, Caroline, saying he's a dangerous predator, and you cannot confirm him. Yeah. So the vast majority of his own family members think he's a nut job, and yet the Kennedy name, and by the way, I also read that Bobby Kennedy Jr., because of his family name and his family, is considered a prize for the Republicans.
Sure.
They want to conquer the Kennedy mythology by incorporating this really
one of my sister's friends who voted for was a Trump voter said to her after the election, "Oh, well, you must be happy. Kennedy's going to be in there now." And my sister's like, "No, he's a lunatic."
Yeah. He's the lunatic Kennedy. He's the Kennedy we don't want.
Right. But you're exactly right, Doc.
And no one at the hearings has even gotten to issues like the dead bear cub that he planted next to a bicycle in Central Park, or his brainworm theories. And we're talking about a guy who's really got a screw loose to be put in charge of a $1.8 trillion budget for Health and Human Services.
And you said, one of the other points you made, Doc, you said it's hard to imagine a secretary of the agency who has publicly called for an 8-year ban on infectious disease research when the world is facing the strong possibility of a global pandemic that could be more deadly than COVID. I don't even know where Dr. I don't know if you know, Eric Ding said, do you wonder why you haven't heard much about this massive TB outbreak recently? Because the CDC can't hold any press conferences or issue public statements of any kind. I can't imagine how, as a doctor, you feel walking into this slow motion disaster.
Well, first of all, the whole administration is already a disaster. For doctors, it's underscored by the suggestion that Bobby Kennedy Jr. has what it takes in any way, shape, or form to run this massive department. And by the way, Medicare and Medicaid is an issue for half of Americans who happen to be on one or both of those programs. Yeah. They're life-saving programs. He has no idea what they are. He completely fumbled any attempt at even beginning to answer appropriately the questions put to him on these massive programs. And,
and this,
you think it is not a partisan issue.
No,
really.
And
this truly isn't.
This ridiculous spending freeze, Doc, and then rescission, and then more chaos. George Takei said on social media, no, the Medicaid portals were shut down because the OMB demanded they be. They're only back up because of the outcry. I tell you to stop lying, but we know that's a feature of this administration. I mean, that not only are we going to get, no information, we're going to get lies. You were saying, you posted, President Trump has declared the U.S. will withdraw from the World Health Organization. That's an extraordinarily terrible idea. Pulling out of WHO will certainly undermine our capacity to detect early signs of a pandemic and our ability to manage a massive global outbreak. I mean, the only thing they're going to care about is blaming someone else, right? Like he did the last time.
I don't know what we should have expected, which is what a friend of mine said yesterday. Said, you've been ranting about Bobby Kennedy Jr., but are you surprised that people like this are being appointed to Secretary of Defense and the National Intelligence Director and all the positions in health? They're all of the same cloth. They're incompetent, unqualified, and dangerous. I guess I'm not surprised. I'm just really, really upset. And I don't know where this is going, Stephanie, but, we keep saying in 2 years we'll have midterms and we'll reverse some of this.
Yeah.
Except Elon Musk said he's going to primary these people that don't go along with every single whim and fantasy and craziness of Donald Trump.
RFK Jr.'s running mate is going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
That crazy lady.
That crazy lady. Yeah. I mean, but Doc, there are a lot of heroes of democracy like you out there. Jim Acosta, we're talking about the people that are, and I'm sorry, CNN just made Bakari Sellers, back down on posting this headline, which is a true headline from a story I just read. Trump fires heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and Guts Key Aviation Safety Advisory Committee. You can only imagine if this happened a month ago under President Biden. So again, it's all of a piece, right?
It's all of a piece that was completely predictable, and even the speed with which Trump is making these decisions that are devastating. Opening up Guantanamo for 30,000 migrants. God knows what's going to happen down there. And the other thing is,
and at its peak, Gitmo held, I believe it was 678 beds. So how much? They're talking about government waste. How much taxpayer money is that going to cost to expand it to a concentration camp for 30,000 people?
And then he's looking for other sites to put even more, quote unquote, prisoners in. And look, yesterday, Karen and I spoke with some of our friends in Ukraine. And they are terrified because he's also put a stop on humanitarian aid in other countries, including Ukraine. This is vital issue for people in places like Ukraine. And everybody's terrified.
And the world is upside down. He's already blamed Zelensky for the war. Yeah. Said he should have capitulated to Putin. I mean, it's as terrifying as you think. All right, we went long because we needed you.
Yes.
You're going to also need to get a psychology degree. Okay. Thanks, Dr. Doom.
I'll be here.
Yay, thank you, Doc.
Thanks,
Bye,
Dr.
Steph.
Doom.
Bye, Chris. Bye,
all right.
everybody.
Bye.
21 minutes
Thank
after. Yep.
Exactly. I hugged you. I groped you.
I know.
So, but here's the thing, people, I hope I paid attention to. The immediate response was from D.C. local, Maryland, Virginia, and federal. Right away, everyone came together. We absolutely all cooperate to work together to save lives, to discover what happened so we can avoid it ever happening again, to try to get those poor people out of the water. And it's tragic, of course, no one survived. But this is what he wants to do, is destroy us. He wants to destroy the people working together. He wants everyone isolated, alone, and afraid.
Yeah, Sue,
This
he's
is their
gonna
goal.
speak in about a half an hour, and you know that most of us cringe. Yep. Going, who's he going to blame? Who's he going to name call? How's he going to divide? How is he going to try to use this to score political points? You just knew it, right?
And I know that this is terribly unpopular to say, but I will piss on his grave, and I will dance with hundreds of millions of the rest of us when he's finally gone.
Well, you'll need to get in line. Hey, Chris, what? Don't.
What? Hey, Chris,
don't
what do you
let
mean,
her
hey,
encourage
Chris?
me.
Hey,
Okay.
Chris.
Anyway, yes.
I
Sue.
love you guys.
I love you too. I love you
Stay
too.
strong.
Yeah,
Drag me into that. Good Lord.
All right, we were just talking. Dr. Redlener brought up the. This is Keith Boykin said the same thing on Threads. He said Trump says he's opening a detention center at Guantanamo Bay in Cuba to hold up to 30,000 migrants from the United States. We're only a week.
Our country is divided.
Thom for now starting to continue to get these people out of our country. Now with, I think, 7,000 removals and growing 1,800 a day. I saw the order from ICE just yesterday.
Right.
Yep, we have reached the concentration camps are okay, part of fascism. That was Chip Roy, which is a combination Roy Rogers putt-putt outside of Lubbock.
Yep.
And also a Republican douchebag congressperson who just defended concentration camps.
And the worst flavor of ice cream.
Yes, he is indeed. Hal Sparks reminds us he is the worst flavor of ice cream. Chip Roy tastes like fascism.
Tastes like ass.
Yeah, and ass combined. Right. Okay. Art tweets, Donald Trump says there are 30,000 beds in Guantanamo and will sign an executive order to use it as a migrant detention center. At its peak, Guantanamo Bay detention camp was designed to hold up to 780 detainees. Clown show. How much is that? How much is the concentration camp going to cost? By the way, Daily Beast tweeted, Colombian officials say 2 of Trump's deportation flights were packed full of innocent people, including 2 pregnant women and 20 or more children. Okay. Let's.
You know what, though? The far right doesn't see anything wrong with that because just by the fact that they were here undocumented makes them criminals.
Right, makes them criminals. Yeah. That's what the fembot, Caroline Levitt, said. Yep. Oh, by the way, I did not realize when I was mentioning whoever the suck-up reporter was, it's Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend.
Yes.
He was her.
He was my boyfriend.
Boyfriend.
No.
That. Thank you, Sean. Yeah.
He was my boyfriend!
Thank you, Frau Blucher.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like horses probably go when they, Marjorie Taylor Greene's anywhere near.
Yeah.
Just because she looks,
And they may drink
She looks
Ovaltine.
a little equine. What?
They may drink Ovaltine.
Thank you. Right, at the Trump administration's first official briefing, Brian Glenn, that's her boyfriend, he felt the need to offer Caroline Levitt a few words of praise. He's a rising MAGA star. Mm-hmm. Just in case you missed, this is the journalism you can look forward to in the White House press briefings. Welcome, he said. You look great.
He said that to Caroline Levitt?
Uh-huh. You're doing a great job. Oh, I wonder if Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thank you, Levitt responded.
Imagine having to say that exact same thing to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Mm-hmm. You look great.
To which she said, this was his question. Are you ready for the hard-hitting journalism we can look forward?
Let's do it.
Some of us in the room know how transparent President Trump has been in the last 5 or 6 years.
Oh, my God.
Do you think this latest incident with the president in Colombia is indicative of the global, powerful respect they have for President Trump moving forward, not only to engage in economic diplomacy, but also world peace? Absolutely, Levitt said. That'd be an example of the hardcore journalism we're going to get moving forward.
God, can you imagine having to wake up next to Marjorie Taylor Greene? Oh.
Sorry, I was a little bit of my breakfast.
I mean, I wonder if she looks like Barney Rubble before she puts on all of that stuff.
I don't know. Okay. Hey, looky here. It's our favorite dance. It's the Around and Find Out dance. U.S. consumer confidence dropped in January to a 4-month low, thanks in part to renewed pessimism about the labor market and the outlook for the broader economy. Say goodbye to the Biden economy. Bye-bye. Okay. Oh, here's some fun facts. Not newsworthy, but kind of interesting. The new press secretary, the new fembot, Caroline Levitt, is 27.
Yeah.
Her husband is 32 years older than her, and they were
I'm sorry, what?
Her husband's 32 years older than her, and they were set up on a blind date by Matt Gaetz. That's kind of a wow.
How long ago were they married?
Kind of a fun fact.
Love wins.
Oh my God, the baby Bella. I mean, badass Bella. What do we call her? Badass Bella. Yeah, she doesn't like baby Bella.
That was funny. Wow.
Wow, yeah. I like. You told me don't talk to her for 6 months, and look at her. She's already smarter and funny than all the rest of us. Sean, I love you. Mommy loves you best. Just because there's a new baby in the family. I can't believe you're 20 years older than the. He's the original stem cell.
Did you hear what he said?
No.
Well, then why'd you take my microphone?
Because Chris has not gotten someone in here. Because this microphone doesn't work. Don't you blame me. Okay. All right. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Hold on. Oh, yes, this was Hugh. Given how well she has assimilated into the show and is already beloved by listeners, just curious, is Bella's last name DeBall? Bella DeBall. Get it? Well, that was an old person joke.
Yeah, it was.
Good luck, Bella. It's going to be a crash course in older pop culture for you.
Yes, it already has been.
Oh, someone was very impressed with my references yesterday. Highly Scatological said, I can't believe Steph couldn't come up with Doc Brown, but could come up with flux capacitor.
Yeah.
That's the magic of the Stephanie Miller Show. You have to understand, Bella, at my age, it's just flapping wires in my head. Sometimes they connect, sometimes they don't. Random references pop in.
We're learning from each other.
We could ask if Bella has ever seen Back to the Future.
I have.
Okay.
I have.
All right. Okay.
You gotta give
She
me
got
some
my
credit.
flux capacitor joke.
You gotta give me some credit.
Okay. All right.
I also get the Brondo jokes.
Okay. That's good. That's good.
Sean, you're going to have to tell her where this soundbite is. Sean Comiskey, previous stem cell of the Stephanie Miller Show, helping new stem cell Bella learn the ropes. Family. Family. We are all family. It's labeled
There's
family.
also a button.
Yeah. Huh? Okay. Sean will find it. Here we go.
There's a button on the right side.
All right. Never mind.
Family.
Okay.
Yes, family.
Guess what that's from? That's from Greystoke Legend of the Apes. Have you seen that, Bella?
Huh?
With Miles O'Keefe?
No, I'm sorry.
Family. I don't know why. Those are the references that stick in my head. Family. Jean-Claude. Family. Razor. Okay. He's teaching him to shave, and then also mirror. Jean-Claude. Mirror.
I always thought that was from like The Godfather or something. I didn't know it was from Greystoke.
He was
When I
talking
hear
to him
that-
about his family. His parents got, I don't know, killed in a tree or something, and then he was raised by apes in the forest. You know the story.
Yeah, it's
All right.
the Legend of Tarzan, I'm told.
Right.
I think of Fast and the Furious when I hear family.
Yeah, yes, that too.
Seth the homo.
Vin Diesel was big on family.
Yes.
All right. Seth, homo of hope. Hello. Good God, we need some of that this
Hello,
morning.
homos, and welcome, sweet, adorable, homo-adjacent Bella. Welcome to the show.
Oh, you know what? We were just talking about our nails yesterday, and it was so queer eye for the straight girl. It was. She has totally. You can tell she's not a les. Look at her nails. Look how long they are. And I was telling her I'm a lipstick les, so I have gels, but they're short because
Yeah, because.
And this has been another edition of Queer Eye for the Straight Girl. Hi. Seth.
I did not know until I started working with you that lesbians don't have long nails for that reason.
Think about it, for God's sake.
I know. I didn't. Why would I think
How
about
is he
that?
supposed to know?
It's like I'm gonna be.
That's news to
like
me.
I'm gonna.
I
Like I
didn't
need
know.
less help getting a date. Stephanie Scissorhands. Really?
Seth had no idea until this moment.
All right. Hi, Seth.
Yes. Me too, Chris. I had no idea. So I have good news, but before I tell you the good news, if anybody wants to get a lift, go on YouTube and Google videos of people who regret voting for Trump. There's so many great videos that people have put together about the dialogue in the threads. But
No, I mentioned it yesterday. When you type people who into Google, the top search is people
the
who
videos-
regret voting for Trump. It is
Yeah, the
heartbreaking.
videos are amazing.
Yeah.
So the good news, I found the water spigot that Trump turned on.
Oh, good.
You're
And
the guy.
above it, yes, and above it, there's an inscription, and it says, "Bitch, please."
No, it does not.
This line of.
You just made that up.
Exactly.
All right, thank you, Seth. All right. That's funny. Okay, hang on. Hold, please. Hold, please. I'm
What are you
trying
looking for? Can I help you?
No, no one really can help me at this point.
All right.
Oh, are you all waiting for me?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Are we supposed to talk amongst ourselves?
Yeah, talk amongst yourselves.
Rutabaga. Peas and carrots, peas and carrots, peas and
Oh,
carrots.
here it is. I found the story that Seth was talking about. Nobody help Mommy. Okay. Oh, no one was going to help
we
Mommy.
weren't.
Okay, fine. Okay, here it is. Here's the thing I'm going to need help with, Chris.
The thing? Just one? Just the one thing?
Grace and forgiveness. Donald Trump has made me mean, and I think it's stuck. I'm not sure. I don't know how because this is what's going to happen. And I guess you have to think of it as someone that's like a dear friend that was dating a bastard person, and then you're like, okay, honey, let's go, pick up your, okay, right?
Okay.
So they don't feel bad about making such a horrible choice. And I know I'm gonna have a hard time because I know that we need to be, welcoming and yes, we need to be open and loving and welcoming of the people that are now sorry they
who are you
voted for
shiv?
Trump.
Who are you going to shiv?
A weekend. I'm sorry. I'll work on it. I just need to be a little more put in those. Someone we love that's come back from a horrible relationship that we need to go, okay, it's not your fault. He's a bastard person. Come on in. Okay, this would be the story that Seth was referring to. Some Trump voters skeptical of his opening moves. See, okay, I'll get there. Enrique Lopez, you know that guy, this guy. You remember him?
Good.
Yeah,
Did you wear a Latinos for Trump shirt?
Probably.
Okay.
This is in Mesa, Arizona.
All right.
He votes sporadically, but bought into Donald Trump's vows to fight for everyday workers. Yeah, because why wouldn't you? He helped the Republican flip Arizona last year. Then the home construction contractor watched how the billionaire president opened his second administration. So the rich control the poor, I guess. They do whatever they want. They get away with it, Lopez said. After seeing Elon Musk and all the other billionaires at Trump's limited seating indoor inauguration. The 56-year-old Lopez, a resident of Phoenix, said he was also struck by the president's lack of emphasis on housing costs or consumer interests. I didn't hear anything about helping people out. I think I mentioned earlier that, who did have a plan would be Kamala Harris, had a quite detailed plan about helping.
But, DEI and all.
Right. Scary black lady, communist lawyer lady from San Francisco. Okay. Hang on, hold please, there's more. Some middle-class Trump voters say much of what he's done reflects his campaign, especially immigration crackdown and the targeting of gay-friendly policies. I'm happy about that, said Lorinda Parker, noted bigot. 65-year-old retired local government bigot.
She's from Mesa, Arizona.
Right.
That's what you get from Mesa.
She voted for Trump because she's concerned about medical treatments for trans children. So, yeah. Yet she expressed concerns about the company Trump keeps. Yeah, who could have seen any of this coming, Chris? See, I'm not back so far in the grace yet.
You're not. No.
The political class, she said, is a little insular world where power brokers are not paying attention to the people. So this just dawned on her, I guess, now. Billionaires, she said, represent elitist thinking. We know more because we're so smart.
Exactly.
Remember when it was liberals that were the elitists that they didn't want to... and adding her wish that Trump keep a tight leash on them. Oh, yeah, he's totally... What's her name? Lorinda. Yeah, Lorinda, he's totally going to keep a tight leash on all the billionaires. He's certainly not going to...
Well, he got rid of Vivek.
Okay, U.S. adults think it's a bad thing if the president relies on billionaires for advice about government policy, according to a new NORC poll. 60% of Americans think this would be a very bad or somewhat bad thing, and obviously played not an actual bit of attention to the campaign where Elon Musk was jumping around like a jumping bean behind him.
Unleashed.
Right,
Unleashed.
yeah. He said he'd be in charge, but okay. Only about 1/3 of Americans now have a favorable view of President Musk. Oh well. Sucks to be us. Ha ha. Okay, I'm working on it. I know I'm not being very gracious just yet, but I'll get there.
No, I don't think
Hi, welcome back. No? Does it sound sincere yet?
Not
No?
at all.
Okay. Not at all. Dana in Maryland. Hi, Dana. Hi, Dana. Hi, Donna. Oh, Donna. I'm sorry, Donna. I have a Dana and a Donna. Sorry, Donna.
Oh, is this travel agent Donna?
Dana. Yes.
Hi.
I always get called Dana. Anyway, this is like slaps of 1980s when we get all these plane crashes all the time, and it would just jerk. I'm having PTSD with this.
Yeah.
It's just horrible, and he took out he fired the head of the TSA last week. I mean, what is he thinking?
Yeah. I mean, it's, Donna, it's hard not to, again, I remember, when was this, Chris? When did you say this story was? Donna, I remember doing this story, and I remember saying.
January 21st.
Yes. Just how many weeks ago? And I said, oh my God, what could possibly go wrong? Right. He just eliminated all members of a key aviation security advisory committee. I mean, it's, yeah, go ahead.
Yes. I mean, it's horrible. And the whole thing with, I don't know if you guys remember the Air Florida thing back in the 80s. I mean, this is what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
That's the one that crashed into the Everglades.
The value jet. Oh.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it went over in D.C. on the bridge. I was on that bridge.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
the one that crashed in the Potomac. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, are we going back to that again?
Yes.
I mean, we were getting plane crashes every
few months.
Because
horrible.
Everything is about demonizing brown people and the border. That's what they said. They're reallocating to, that part of Homeland Security because that's the only thing they care about.
Well, and also their big thing is deregulation.
Right.
Regulations keep planes from falling from the sky. If they deregulate the airline industry, more planes are going to fall from the sky.
It's just, thank you. Ronald Filipowski said the Trump administration seems to be developing a pattern of unleashing their most authoritarian, lawless, typically around midnight, with no prior announcement to the public or even to Republicans in Congress. What will we wake up to tomorrow? We're back to this, and we're a week in. I mean, yeah. Rick Stengel said usually government shutdowns are because the two parties can't agree. This is a one-man government shutdown. This was caused entirely by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Bella's wrapping me, so I'm
She
sorry.
is. That's
She is
more than I've ever done.
See, but we're in a new authoritarian regime, my friends. It's been a fascist takeover of the Stephanie Miller show.
Learning from
something
somebody.
needed to
This
happen.
train's going to run on time, I tell you what.
We needed a strong man to run this show.
50 minutes after. it's funny because he's very tall and he's 54, so that's why it's funny. He just sent me the trailer for he plays the president in the new Shonda Rhimes Netflix series called The Residents.
That's right.
Very exciting. We'll have him on. We'll have the president on.
Yeah.
Just talking.
That'd be cool.
Bella's just like, oh my God.
Shonda Rhimes!
This job is so exciting.
I need a new show. This is great.
Yeah. Oh my God.
When
Love
does it
Shonda.
premiere,
Love
do you know?
Shonda Rhimes. Let me see. He just sent me the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah. Not sure. I'll find out.
All right.
There's so much love rolling in for Bella. It's so heartwarming. My daily morning chuckles on Free Speech TV, The Stephanie Miller Show, with the long-suffering Chris LeBoy. Oh, whatever.
I've suffered since 1997.
Why I have to suffer him? What do you mean long-suffering Chris LeBoy?
I'm the suffering one.
The beloved Jodie Hamilton, and now the baby Bella. Run, Bella, run. Don't tell her to run. She's young, sweet, smart, fits right in with these crazy wackadoos. Aww. I don't know if that's a compliment, but yeah. All right. Dana, speaking of weirdos we love, Dana Goldberg next.
DHS to be just putting out misinformation about the dangers of SSRIs and other antidepressant medication, spreading the stigma and the fear that we're actually trying to overcome.
Exactly.
Thank you, Senator Tina Smith. Okay, the tragedies are backing up. What is it? Kash Patel and what do you call it? Tulsi Gabbard both today?
Today. They're right now. Both are right now.
All right, and Trump will be about to do a press conference about the plane tragedy, which I'm sure he's going to figure out how to blame someone else and score political points. Let's bring our friend in. Here we are. She comes.
Raised by a wild pack of Jews, here's Dana Goldberg. Goldberg's here. Gold. Ha, ha, ha. For one of the top 5 funniest lesbians in America. Goldberg's here. Come stick with you, baby, for 1,000 years. Nothing gets better when Dana's here. Dana's here.
Good morning, Dana Goldberg.
Good morning to you. Speaking of Kash Patel, did anyone else wake up to the headline from The Economist that says Kash Patel is a crackpot as FBI director? Would he also be a menace? I'm like, okay, no one's holding punches here.
Nope. No, that's awesome.
Well done, The Economist.
I know. I mean, Dana, this is part of it. We keep saying, why we promote all of you guys, all of us in this progressive space, because the truth tellers, man. We were saying, CNN was just going to demote Jim Acosta, who left instead. I urge you support his Substack. He did a great piece about, not giving in to the lies. As I was saying, Chris and I were saying off the top of the show, this is going to happen with every tragedy, is Trump shoots off his mouth right away with no information about, obviously looking for blame. And you can't help but go, can you imagine if this happened under the Biden administration with Pete Buttigieg as transportation secretary? So Bakari Sellers just retweeted the headline from, when is this, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago.
From the 21st.
Trump fires heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and Guts Key Aviation Safety Advisory Committee. CNN makes him take that down. I mean, because of timing, but
of course,
it's a true headline that, can you?
I want independent journalism to cover them like they would cover Pete Buttigieg. I wonder if the crash happened to do because the transportation secretary was straight.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why the planes crashed. I really want them. Someone has got to start covering the way they did when they were covering Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah. And, this is an Army helicopter, and you're like, oh, dear God. New Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is going.
Charlotte Clymer said it best. How many things had to have gone wrong at that moment for a military helicopter to crash into this plane?
Right, a commercial airliner, and this obviously this has been the what do you call it? Logistics forever. Right. That's where it's DC. Right. I've been on that flight. I don't know how many times.
Granted,
I'm always on that American Airlines flight that lands at Reagan at 9:00.
Granted, that is a really, really crowded airspace right along the Potomac there.
Right.
But still.
Yeah, but there's also people in charge of making sure that airspace is safe.
Right.
So.
Right.
I mean, I can't even imagine. But you just know, who is he going to blame? Who's he got? Because he will never take, even though it was his administration, his Defense Department, his Army helicopter. He's the one that just gutted aviation safety. It will be somebody's fault. I don't know if is he late talking? Because I'm waiting to see what.
I don't know.
And then the right wing, Dana, as you know, will pick up whatever the lie is. We spent, Joe Biden sent $50 million worth of condoms to Gaza, which was just a complete lie. That's had to.
I don't even understand these headlines. Why they're picking these stories to actually try and sensationalize and make true is bizarre to me.
I mean, Gina tweeted, undocumented people do not qualify for federal grants, student loans, Medicaid, CHIP, SNAP, or TANF. By the way, these funding blackouts are hurting strictly poor U.S. citizens. Like most GOP policies, undocumented folks were just a convenient scapegoat to misdirect your fear and anger. I mean, and meanwhile...
It's the same with the DEI programs.
Yeah. And I was saying, we're at the opening concentration camps in Gitmo, part of our fascism. I mean,
and everyone's like, oh, don't make the comparison yet. And I'm like, what do you mean yet? You think that's how it started? I don't compare things to the Holocaust, but I will say the concentration camps didn't just start as concentration camps. It started off something much lesser and turned into that. So let's not be like, oh, you're overreacting. Stop telling people they're overreacting.
Yeah. And as we keep saying, the Columbia, these planes, there weren't criminals on them. There were women and children on them. And, again, I guess this is what the Latinos for Trump said, right? Is, oh, he's only going to deport criminals, not, my undocumented relatives. Well, we knew that wasn't true, Dana. How many times did we scream it, right?
That whole story got turned around, even in the press.
Thank you.
It was actually Colombia who
Thank
was
you.
like,
He backed
do
down.
not send them over shackled. Do not threaten us with tariffs. Back down, and we'll go get our own people. They picked up their own immigrants that were trying to find safety in the United States. And the entire press picked up the other story to the point where Allison Gill and I in the Daily Beans reported it wrong because we thought all of these sources were telling the truth. All of them.
That Colombia backed down. And it was the other way. I said exactly the same thing. Dana,
Trump folded.
Thank you. Yes, who is this? Timothy tweeted Donald backed down when Colombia stood up to him, and he just backed down on his spending freeze. Learn from this and stand your ground.
Absolutely.
We keep talking about modeling courage and not cowardice. I'm looking at do we have cowards of democracy? I know we have a heroes of democracy jingle. But Zuckerberg's Meta to pay Trump $25 million to settle lawsuit. Trump sued Facebook because they suspended his account after the January 6th riots, which they were very justified in doing. During the 24 campaign, Trump railed against Zuckerberg, threatened to throw him in prison. This settlement comes on the heels of the $1 million Zuckerberg already donated to Trump. And how many times has he been to Mar-a-Lago to kiss ass?
Yeah, it is dangerous. This whole thing is dangerous. We've been talking about this. We have to find a way to break the tech oligarchy that's happening in this country, because that's what it is. It's a tech oligarchy. There's a lot. Part of me is like, where's Anonymous when you need him? Why isn't someone hacking their code? Like, there's a lot of smart Democrats with a lot of money, or people that just care about this country. Do something.
Chris and I were saying yesterday about how Democrats have to fight differently. They have, there has to be what did Dr. King say? Fierce urgency of now. And I feel like, the AOCs and the Jasmine Crockett's have it.
Yes, that's exactly what I was saying. I want AOC energy. I want Crockett energy. I want Pritzker energy.
Yes,
I want
Pritzker.
all of this. No thoughts and prayers. Listen, I love our minority leader, but saying something like presidents come and go, the glory of God will protect us. Please don't send thoughts and prayers to fascism. Do something.
And Chuck Schumer yesterday saying, this is outrageous. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
We need little more
listen, and
fire than that.
I don't want to engage in ageism because I am, as you know, sick. We just discovered yesterday I'm 40 years older than Bella. That's not important now, Dana. The important thing is...
not important at all.
Can someone hold this heart of the ocean? Okay.
She got that reference.
I know, she got that reference. The old lady in Titanic.
Yeah, that movie came out before she was born.
I know.
It did.
Dana, it's not chronological age, right? It's old ways of doing things. It's old ways of communicating. It's having a press conference 24 hours later when, this $50 million worth of condoms lie has rocketed around, So... by the way, speaking of January 6th, this one, the Seattle Times, former doctor lost license, behind on home payments, killed in shooting at West Seattle home. He was a January 6th insurrectionist. Another one just got killed in a police shootout. When was that? A couple days ago.
Another one just killed someone in a drunk driving accident, and she's back in prison for 10 years. The recidivism rate with January 6th
because he let violent criminals.
One of the highest they've ever seen.
Thank you. Yes. Violent criminals out of prison. What do you think was going to happen? How many more of these are we going to see?
They also think they're Teflon. Oh, I've got a pardon. I can break any law I want. They don't understand how this works. You can't do that.
Yeah. Where am I? Robert Garcia. We got to get him on. We've been saying that forever. He's one of our fighters.
Not for lack of trying.
I know. Yeah, he said, as far as I'm concerned, not one of Trump's nominees deserves a single yes vote from Democrats. Thank you. Trump is already grossly violating the Constitution. Why are we working with him? Fight him every time. I think that's what our base wants, don't you think?
I do. I think there's two things that need to happen. We have to have a coordinated attack on social media on every single platform from every single Democratic account that when he breaks the law or does something unconstitutional, they send out the exact same message. Republicans have done this for years.
Yes.
The messaging matters. The other thing I want researchers talking about in these Republican strong-held districts, all of the constituents that are being hurt by the executive orders, I want them to have numbers, and I want them to tag every single of their Republican elected officials so that they see their voters are being damaged by this. So maybe one of them will get a spine and start voting against some of this stuff. Make it public. Put them on call. Make sure everyone knows what's happening. We have got to do
Yeah.
better.
Yep. Amy Siskin said, I know some of you are questioning your approach to social media. I just want to encourage you. Now is not the time to withdraw. Now is the time to get loud. I mean, if you're not woken up now, today, I don't know what to tell you, but I know people were depressed. I'm checking out. I'm, tuning out. I'm not, but got to get back in the fight, Dana. Do what you need to do for self-care, but you got to, I agree with her. You got to get in the fight.
There's that meme that's going around, don't panic, organize. They cannot, if we get a bigger coalition and we start going after them, it's going to matter. But if we're scattered and it's a big fish going after little fish, they're going to take them out one at a time. We have got to build a giant school and go after them.
And we were already saying, Dana, he's the first polling out. He's been down 7 points in a week. I mean, it is, and we keep talking about the Google search, top Google search, people who regret voting for Trump. We are 1 week in, right? I mean, it's like you were talking about.
What is that joke we told in the last administration? His poll numbers are going down faster than Marjorie Taylor Greene in a gym bathroom.
Whoa,
What?
Dana Louise Goldberg.
Whoa,
I don't even know what that means. But, we did a whole story earlier, right, Chris, about this Trump voters who are like, what? Like a week in, right? And one of them's a, whatever. Bigot lady.
One of the best lines I have heard is from our dear Frances Collier, Frangela, and she posted that Trump supporter who's like, wait, Mr. President, my wife just wanted to be a nurse and help veterans, but your executive order, she's a federal worker, and now she's got her job rescinded. I know you didn't mean to do this. And Frances said, you white people, how does it feel to shoot yourself in the face when you're aiming for black folk?
Yep.
And I felt that in my chest because that's exactly what's happening. DEI programs help women and veterans almost more than any other group of people.
Yep.
And they're finding out real fast that they are screwing themselves now.
Well, the woman I was talking about, she's like a 65-year-old woman from Arizona, and she voted for Trump. She's like, well, I don't like all this, what's with the billionaires and all the stuff that was clear when, Elon Musk was bouncing around the stage behind him but she literally said, oh, well, the trans surgery, and that was the thing I really voted on. And I'm like,
oh, God.
First of all, that lie is what you voted, and now you don't like anything else he's doing, and you're like, but at least that one girl can't play badminton in your state. Louise, is her name Louise? Her name was Louise.
There's one thing we have to do, and I think we need to stop assuming all Trump voters don't care, because I think a lot of them are starting to realize, some of them are starting to realize that they got snowed. Yeah. There is a gay Trump supporter that actually was at January 6th. He got a pardon, and he said, I don't need basically to suck up to this narcissist. I've learned my ways. You can shove your pardon right up your...
Yeah.
And so that was one person. Then you've got Granny MAGA, who was at January 6th and now realizes, oh, my God, and is going around trying to deprogram people. There are some reachable people out there. Do not write this entire country, that half of the country off.
Yeah.
Some of them are still reachable.
I'm still working on my grace and forgiveness. I need to go back to my Catholic school
Oh,
teachings.
no, I don't have grace and forgiveness. I'm just saying that when they're there, we still have a midterm coming up. And if we can show them that there is a better way, maybe, just maybe they will
I'm just saying,
have
I
seen their
compared
errors.
it to when you go through a breakup and then, in fact, I believe, Dana, I'll talk to you about it off here. There's a couple people that you tried to warn me about that I did.
I know,
that,
but
right?
I think I'm...
Honestly, I think Hakeem Jeffries tried grace and forgiveness yesterday, and it didn't work.
It didn't work.
No,
I'm
because,
more
but
mad
you're right. We have to
sometimes
welcome
at apathetic Democratic voters than I am at Trump voters, because I think they're brainwashed. Apathetic Democrats that stayed home and didn't vote, they're part of the problem of why the election went the way it did.
Yeah.
So there's blame on both sides.
Well,
and I'm not talking about blaming both sides. You know what I mean? I'm not both sides in this. I'm just saying we've got to do better too.
Well, yeah, someone, again, who's the fembot? Caroline, saying,
Caroline
that, it's a mandate and a landslide and blah, blah. They want you to feel overwhelmed. But you're absolutely right. First of all, one of the slimmest margins in history. And to your point, more people stayed home than voted for him. So it's not, he does not have a mandate of any kind. It's a good point. 20 minutes after the hour, this portion of the... Show. Dana Goldberg's here. Things, you know, when you say things are better, it's kind of all relative. But you're trying.
You know what?
You're trying.
How dare you? How dare you?
Trump did step up to the microphone, so he's speaking.
Oh, did he? Who is he blamed now for the air tragedy that happened on his watch under his Defense Department with one of his Army helicopters?
I'm not listening to it, so I don't know.
Okay, fine. Mm-hmm.
I think the transportation secretary literally said out loud, in-air collisions aren't standard.
Yeah.
Like this isn't supposed to happen.
That's Sean Duffy. Sean Duffy.
Sean Duffy said this isn't
Sean
supposed to
Duffy.
happen.
Yeah,
okay.
thanks, Sean.
That's
Yep,
good
thanks.
information. Yeah. Okay. Trump just said yesterday, we identified and stopped 50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. Oh my God. He's just going to lie, and then the Fembot will repeat the lie, and then Fox News will repeat the lies.
Exactly.
And this is, Dana, you were mentioning it, but about how we fight back. We have to have, however we do it, war room, quick reaction, but it's got to be immediate on social media, on all the places, you guys, us, because it's just, this is what it's going to be like. Yeah.
Trump said it's a tragedy of terrible proportions.
Okay, good. That's helpful so far.
Yep. That's like saying to the people who lost their houses in the Palisades, at least you're safe.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You don't say that to someone.
God, it
who
just
lost
in
everything.
every tragedy.
You don't tell people that, we know it's
Remember
a
the
horrible tragedy. People died.
Remember the people he said that, we just got to get over it? After what school shooting, he went to some, by the way, keep me safe, it said on Blue Sky, liar, liar, Carolyn Levitt's cross is on fire. Why? They all wear that cross because they're very, very Christian, unless it's a Christian bishop.
It's virtue signal.
Who happens to be talking things
exactly
Jesus
it.
actually said to Trump's face. Yeah.
It's all a virtue signal.
Yeah. Dana, we talked earlier about Marco Rubio banning the flying of the rainbow flag. Where is it? Arizona has a Republican bill to ban. This is the stuff they're working on. While we've got, planes falling out of the sky and I wildly unqualified nominees getting, government funding freezes and then rescissions and then and just chaos, right?
And if you think about the amount of people, they are doing all this to make a very small minority of people happy. The bigots. That's it. I know they're loud. There are more of us than there are of them, but man, are they loud. And for some reason, this is what they're doing.
George Conway said it best. He said, because they're evil, we must stand up to them. But because they're also stupid, we don't need to be afraid to. So do not be afraid. 29 minutes after the hour, more Dana Goldberg on The Stephanie Miller Show.
election, if we have 1.2 million abortions a year, I agree with him that the states should control abortion. President Trump has told me that he wants to end late-term abortions, and he wants to protect conscious exemptions, and that he wants to end federal funding for abortions here or abroad. That's Title X. I serve at the pleasure of the president. I'm going to implement his policies.
Does not have a core principle. He has been pro-choice his entire life. Bella was just saying, he said about, I don't drink Diet Coke, but the president likes it. So, nothing he believes in. Healthy food, he's like, oh, well, the president likes McDonald's, so that's okay, too. Nothing he believes in, right, is he willing to stand up for.
I mean, I think it was Sanders that pointed it out. You're saying you're anti-vax, you vaccinated your children, and you're selling onesies that put doubt about vaccines on a website for an organization you started. You're making millions off of these lies.
Yeah. Didn't he say, oh, you're making me look like a shill?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if it looks like a shill and sounds like a shill.
If the golden sneaker fits. By the way, you know what? Dana Goldberg is co-host of the Daily Beans with Allison Gill, which is news with swears. That's
where we
some
get to
mornings
say
are
the
very.
F-bombs.
Yeah, today's one of those days very challenging to keep my FCC license because I cannot swear. Go ahead, Chris. Trump is blaming who? What did I say? What did I say? Trump will go ahead.
Trump is using his briefing about the airplane crash as a time to blame Obama and Biden for lower safety standards and to tout his anti-DEI orders.
Yes.
Could I just have the thing labeled "Shut up, Donnie"? Just could I have? Okay.
Donnie.
So people that said we were politicizing by, pointing out this headline earlier today: Trump fires heads of TSA, Coast Guard, and Guts Key Aviation Safety Advisory Committee. That was, we shouldn't have politicized. That's too soon. Yeah, CNN made Bakari Sellers, unlinked to that actual news story because.
Shut the up, Donnie.
And what did everybody say, Dana? You knew exactly what he's going to do, right?
Yeah.
Who can I blame? It's like a comedy. You're blaming Obama. Seriously?
And what Chris said, there's a president between Obama and Joe Biden, and his name was Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Can I read from this again? This was just. I remember doing this story. This was, when did you say? January
21st.
Okay. Members of the Aviation Security Advisory Committee received a memo saying the department is eliminating the membership of all advisory committees as part of a, quote, commitment to eliminating the misuse of resources and ensuring DHS activities prioritize our national security, meaning being mean to brown people. The Aviation Security Committee, which was mandated after Lockerbie, after that, the Pan Am, will technically continue to exist, but it won't have any members to carry out the work of examining safety issues at airports and airlines. Before Tuesday, the group included representatives of all the key groups, the airlines' major unions, as well as members of groups associated with the victims of the Pan Am bombing. The vast majority of the group's recommendations were adopted over the years. I naively thought, they're not going to do anything in the new administration to put security at risk. Aviation security at risk, but now I'm not so sure, said Stephanie Bernstein, whose husband was killed in the Pan Am tragedy. Dana, we're a week in, and this is what it's going to be. And every tragedy that is clearly happens under his administration will. I literally said earlier, how are they going to blame Biden?
Yep.
Sure.
Right. Absolutely. They're going to find a way. I just saw a meme that said January is going to make you feel all 31 days of it. This has been the longest month I think any of us have ever lived through. It's like January 72nd. I have no idea what the date is. Why is this month so long? It's been a week and a half.
I just sometimes social media, because you need to go like, am I taking crazy pills? You have to go see, who is it? Adele said alcoholic National Guard lackey and entertainment news show host at the behest of a 5-time draft dodger removed security detail from general with 43 years of service. Also considered for a demotion in retirement, the most petty and corrupted ruining this country. This is General, really? Drunky McRapey is taking away a star from General Milley. I mean, it's all going to be petty vindictiveness.
I sure hope there's some sort of lawsuit, just like our friend McCabe was able to sue after he, tried to take away his retirement the day before he was about to get them. I hope there's some recourse with stuff like this, and they just sue the hell out of him.
Yeah. I by the way, to point out again, because we have people that know, federal employees.
Right.
Hoodlum said, if you quit your federal job believing Trump will pay you 8 months of severance, DM me about buying the Brooklyn Bridge. Tim Kaine said the same thing. Do not do this. He'll stiff you like every contractor.
Tim
Know your
Kaine's
rights.
speech was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and also Doge does not have the authority to end contracts. It's not a government.
No, he said that the president doesn't have the authority to do this.
Right.
Don't fall for this.
They actually said that letter that got sent out to everyone looked suspiciously like the letters at Twitter when Elon Musk fired a lot of people there and told them about the same thing, that apparently the verbiage is real close.
Yeah. Such a surprise from President Musk. Trump just claimed again, Mia says, that he won by a landslide. That is not true. He won by the slimmest margin in about 100 years. The sad truth is more people stayed home than voted for him, as Dana pointed out. That was the tweet I was looking for.
I think people are going to realize that. And, listen, again, the grace is not there for me yet.
Me neither.
But I do think it's going to turn into a fact that there's not us and MAGA anymore. There's now the administration and the American people, because everyone is going to get hurt by this. Everyone lost this election. Not just the people that voted for Kamala Harris.
I'm with Frangela at the top of I Told You So Mountain until further notice.
Is that close to shut?
I can't come down to
Mountain?
Graceland yet, as Dana says.
Yeah, no.
I have no grace.
Is that close to shut F Mountain?
I'm somewhere in limbo.
Yes, it's near shut the up mountain.
Okay.
Yes,
I'm somewhere in limbo. It vacillates depending on the day.
You're in a valley somewhere between the two
You
mountains.
pointed out just one story, the Columbia story, and Covey said this too. So remember how Trump was threatening Colombia with terrorists if they didn't accept the plane of, quote, illegal criminals? Turns out not a single criminal was on that flight. The flight included 2 pregnant women and more than 20 children.
I just saw a number that said they've arrested 5,000 people. Only 100 of them were actually criminals so far.
Yeah. I'll never forget those interviews with, Latinos for Trump going, oh, he's not talking about my undocumented relatives. Literally, Latino people with undocumented relatives were like, oh, he said only criminals. Why is anyone going to believe anything he says at this point, Dana? It's just, I don't know anything about Project 2025. Don't know anything about it. I mean, they're about to try to confirm that as the head of OMB, the guy that wrote it. Right.
Yeah. Well, not to mention, there was a story. There was a valid, very verifiable story of those British journalists who acted like they were Republican donors and got the lead of Project 2025 to say everything on tape. Trump knows about it. He's actually dispelling it in public because he has to separate himself, but he knows all about it. And nobody listened on that side. We all knew the truth over here. We warned them.
Yep. Oh, by the way, to Francis from Frangela's point, I actually sent this to Frangela. Someone posted, do you ever get so exhausted with white people even though you are a white people?
Yeah.
Atomic Dog says, this is a presidency of retribution, but it's also a presidency of psychological warfare against the American people. He wants us off balance and to feel helpless. He wants us scared. He wants us to obey in advance. Tory says he can't do that. It's illegal. Will be the epitaph etched into the tombstone of this nation, I swear. Dana, how are you and Allison coping? I mean, I feel like I ask all of our regulars.
I'm laughing because you make it sound like we're actually coping.
Well, no, but I mean, we're all doing the best we can. But those of us that have to soak in this, that can't, I'm just going to turn off the news, we can't.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I'll be honest. Last week I was not okay. I have an appointment with my therapist tonight. But I'm going on stage on Saturday with the Human Rights Campaign to raise money so that they can sue the hell out of the Trump administration for this very unconstitutional ban they're trying to give on our transgender service people again. So I am doing everything I can with the tools that I have and the gifts that I've been given to raise money for Lambda Legal and the Human Rights Campaign to sue every single time that they do something that is against the law or unconstitutional that is hurting my family. That's all I can do right now. Continue to speak up. So am I coping? I'm controlling what I can. I'm spending time with friends. I'm not letting them take my joy. And I am getting outside and touching grass as often as I can.
Yeah. No, I was same for me. Bike riding, seeing my friends, doing my family. Dana, I think part of what's, we joke about it, about being a week into this, but you're right about the legal stuff. This is just going to be exhausting. It is going to be one thing after another about that's not legal. Everybody's got to sue. And then, this memo from OMB that, says this is the plan. Like the Trump administration, this is the plan, is the chaos and to get lawsuits. And so take it to his Supreme Court. So who's already said he's above the law, right?
The other thing that's a little bit scary, and I was talking to someone who works with the Victory Fund, is that these organizations like the ACLU and Lambda Legal and even the Human Rights Campaign that are going to sue him, and it's a double-edged sword because they're bringing attention to themselves. And Trump has already said, there's people in this administration that said they are willing to label these nonprofits as terrorist organizations and disband them. So you have to decide how hard you want to go up against him, but someone has got to do it. So I'm glad that people are taking the courageous route and they are filing these lawsuits, even if it brings attention to their organizations.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, we just had Dr. Redlener on today. Of course, this disastrous Bobby Kennedy testimony, which may not matter. But Kathleen said what the CDC is no longer allowed to tell you. The USDA has confirmed that 5 more dairy herds in California are infected, bringing the total number to 732. As of now, 74% of the state's dairy herds have tested positive for the virus. And we were saying, speaking of the headline of, Trump blaming Biden for, the culling of the chicken herds because they had bird flu for trying to control bird flu. This is all he's going to do is try to blame and score political points.
And then he's going to get rid of all information that's supposed to come out to the general public about bird flu because he doesn't want it to look like it's another issue on his hands because he botched COVID so badly.
Yeah, and one last one. Colt says, if you didn't vote for this, but you remain silent as it happens, you are just as complicit. Whatever voice you have right now, be as loud as you can with it. And that's why, Dana, I promote MSW Media, all of the people in our space, because we need every last. Please support Jim Acosta's new Substack.
Absolutely.
It's just the truth teller. We're going to be so important. I was saying about someone saying, Germans gave up on the facts at some point. I'm looking at the massive protests in Germany right now against the far right party because I keep saying because they haven't seen this before.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. And there's enough of them that care. And Elon going out there, stop feeling guilty for your ancestors' sins. If you do not learn from history, it will repeat itself. And we are having something happen in this country that is not necessarily a repetition, but we've seen it in other parts of the world.
Yep, absolutely. 46 minutes after the hour, this portion of the show. with Dana Goldberg. Is it me, or does everything Trump says sound rapey to you? He was talking about sending migrants back to countries, as we've been talking about, and he said, they're going to take them all back and they're going to like it, too. It's just everything. Okay.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. Colombia was bent over that pinball machine.
Dana, I know you could not have seen this coming. DOJ drops case against Trump employees Walt Nauta and what's his name? De Oliveira. I think Allison Gill finally got off the Merrick Garland train on this one. We said this.
I also think. Oh, go ahead.
They were going to drop this case. Is why he should have released the classified documents report, right?
Yeah, 100%. I thought they actually. I thought Cannon backed down on one of those for some reason, and I'm like, oh, this is a setup because it's going to taint, if you will, bad use of a word, but taint the case against Nauta. If all of the January 6th, if the documents case, Jack Smith's report actually comes out, that they were going to dismiss the case anyway. So I wish the American people saw it unredacted. We deserve to have it.
He's just going to try to erase everything. Trump hires new lawyers to appeal felony convictions in New York. Yep. This is what we have to fight against every day, Dana, he's going to try to erase all his crimes, erase January 6th, erase, what was it? Oh, the condom, that lie. Yeah. The $50 million worth of condoms. There was Elon Musk deleted a community note saying that was a lie. Because this is what, they're trying to control the horizontal and the vertical.
Wow.
And, yeah.
I did not realize that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah. Denmark bakeries are selling Trump moron cakes. Someone said, our respect on the world stage has certainly grown.
Well,
this whole thing of him going, we were a laughing stock. No, now we're a laughing stock again. What was the, I can't remember if it was a British paper or whatever, but it just said American Psycho Part 2, the picture of Trump.
I just, I know that we're all laughing about it too, and I don't mean to get dark, but we're also probably the most vulnerable we've been in a very, very long time, with someone like Pete Hegseth at the top of that, department, as well as a Russian spy that may get confirmed after she's in, her testimony today, or her whatever they call it, confirmation hearing. That's Tulsi Gabbard. We're in trouble. We're in danger.
We're in danger. America, you in danger, girl. Sam said chaos is not the problem. Chaos is the plan. Create chaos, and while everyone is running in circles, quietly seize control. Musk said as much last year. Chaos is the plan. And that's, like I was saying, we're at a point now in the flooding of the zone where you don't even know what awful thing is distracting from the other thing.
It's one of the reasons why you have to just stop, take a step back, take a breath, because you can't control anything that's happening right now. You truly can't. So let the dust settle, see what actually sticks, because if you burn out, that's exactly what they want. They want apathy. That's how this stuff happens. So please really do some self-care. Take a step away from social media from time to time. Listen to the Stephanie Miller Show, the Daily Beans, but don't get inundated with all of these headlines, with all of these news, quote-unquote, news sources. It'll be exhausting.
Yes, focus on the important things. Poor Chris. There's so much love pouring in for Bella that he has to send me his pathetic Chris is right emails that are so sparse and so rare, Dana. Thank you, Chris, for correcting Stephanie and pronouncing machismo. All right.
Machismo.
Edgar. All right, Edgar. That's the most important issue facing America. This one, let's see. This is from Greg in Denver City by the Bay. Reminder, the Miles O'Keefe version of Tarzan also shared director John Derek's wife, Bo Derek, who's now married to John Corbett, who plays Carrie's boyfriend in Sex and the City, which Bella and I are watching again.
Yes. Right.
Okay. By the way, I think Bo Derek is the source of that 5 and dime quote when Tarzan tells Jane he's never around, and he says it's because he's busy as the Lord of the Apes, and Jane's having none of that.
Oh, bitch, please.
Don't think that's
Take
correct.
your line of bull down to
All
the
right.
corner market and sell it there, because this 5 and dime isn't buying your line today.
Okay, it is not from Tarzan Legend of the Apes.
No,
Maybe.
it is not. Bella thinks it is.
Who knows?
And she was a cinema minor.
I was a screenwriting major.
Screenwriter
Yes.
Hey, listen, maybe there was a remake. You know how many lines they've stolen from other movies? It's very possible you're both right. It's very possible.
Dana, speaking of entertainment, we've just been saying all these critical issues facing the country, and this is what they're doing. All these, getting rid of the rainbow flag. Senator Valerie Hodges, Republican of Louisiana, as she's demanding chastity at the Super Bowl show. She cited previous Super Bowl halftime performances that she found objectionable. Jennifer Lopez, because, she's brown and also...
Did she go as far back as Justin Timberlake?
That's
my
before
gosh.
Bellows.
No, but
was
I know
born.
what that is.
Okay.
I know about that.
Wardrobe malfunctions.
Yes,
Yeah. She said, we realize these past vulgar performances. You could do. Well, please, someone think of the children. I need that. Okay. We realize these past vulgar performances may have been acceptable to the residents of those states where the Super Bowls were held, but in Louisiana, these lewd acts are inappropriate for viewing by children.
Louisiana?
Has she been to Southern Decadence?
Right.
Has she even heard of Southern Decadence? Southern Decadence makes Folsom look like a walk in the park.
Planes falling out of the sky, Medicaid funds frozen, but no sexy dances at the Super Bowl, so they are...
Damn it. I was looking forward to that.
See? Children not happy.
Even the youth are in agreement.
DG Comedy on all the socials, Daily Beans, MSWmedia.com. We love you, Dana Goldberg.
Love you too. I'll see you next week.
Yep.